Hello, my name is Brett Wade. Welcome to my yoga and meditation video site. Please note that the yoga poses, breath work, and meditation are for general interest and not meant to replace medical advice. It is always advised to make sure you are medically cleared by your family doctor or licensed healthcare practitioner prior to beginning any form of movement-based activity or breath work.
Ujjayi breath or ocean breath, sometimes also called victorious breath. Ujjayi has 3 syllables, and the middle one is emphasized. If it was spelled the way it sounds in English, it might look like Ujjayi. So it is U as in new, Jai like fly, and Yi like me. Ujjayi is a Sanskrit word which combines the word uj with meaning great or high, and Jai, which means conqueror. So Ujjayi is a pranayama, which is a breathing practice often done in yoga. Prana meaning life force, and yama meaning control or regulation. Patanjali, the founder of yoga, developed 8 limbs or parts to a daily yoga practice. And this yoga philosophy was designed for attaining enlightenment, pranayama being the 4th limb, following the 3rd, which is asana, or finding your seat, more commonly now thought of as doing a pose. Typically in a hatha yoga practice, a pranayama, such as ujjayi or breath practice, is often done during the asana or a yoga pose. And this can be done in the primary or original pose seated. When I teach a hatha yoga class, I often tell my students to hold each pose for 5 full breaths, something like holding a warrior pose, for example. I usually begin the class by teaching Ujjayi breath and then remind them to count their breaths on the exhale as they make the sound of the ocean, which we'll practice. Using ocean breath while doing the hold in an asana, again, such as warrior or tree pose, allows the student to hear their breath so they can easily or more easily count their breaths. But it also allows for a much more mindful practice by using another sense. Ujjayi breath can also be a great pranayama if you're flowing between poses in more of a vinyasa style of yoga. Most of my daily practice of yoga and what I teach to most of my patients as a physical therapist is using Ujjayi breath as part of a mindful practice for stress management. Many of my patients struggle with chronic pain, and mindful practices are very effective ways to help with the experience of pain. So whether you decide to practice Ujjayi breath during your yoga poses in hatha, or flowing through them in a vinyasa style of hatha, or in a meditation practice, or managing your stress, ocean breath is a very effective tool for noticing your breath. So let's take a look at how to do the victorious breath, the ocean breath, or Ujjayi. Begin in a comfortable, symmetrical, and seated position. This could, of course, be done in any position or pose, but for this practice, we'll begin in the original asana, which is seated. Now, normally that would be cross-legged, but I'm sitting in a chair. But seated on the floor or a mat, that's fine too. Just sit so you're balancing your weight between both of your left and right ischial tuberosities, sometimes called sits bones. Respect the natural curves of your spine, having a slight inwards curve in your low back, naturally reversing in your middle back or thoracic spine, and then again a slight inwards curve in your cervical spine or your neck. If you've done this correctly, it should feel as if your head is floating with very little tension. Find symmetry in your extremities, matching your left and right sides. Whatever your left hand looks like, your right hand looks like. This could be some form of a mudra, or you might have them crossed, or even just resting on your lap if that's most comfortable for you. I'm going to have mine interlaced. Same with your feet. Whatever your left foot does, your right foot does. If you're sitting on the floor cross-legged, that's very easy. I have my feet flat on the floor. Now begin to focus your breath at your nostrils. This time, as you breathe out, I want you to try to breathe out through your mouth and restrict the airflow slightly in your throat so that the air coming out of your mouth makes the sound of the ocean. Let's do a few cycles of this, in through the nose, out through the mouth, as you make that sound of the ocean by restricting the flow of air in your throat. So do this at your own pace now for 5 full breaths. Now, we're going to add one more piece to our ocean breath, and this will just help deepen the practice. When you're breathing in through your nose and taking a full breath in, you're filling your lungs, and this will flatten your diaphragm. And as that flattens, your abdominal contents will protrude forward slightly, so your belly will protrude a little bit. So that's a very normal process. So we're going to notice that, and then we're also going to, as you breathe out, again, make that sound of the ocean. This is the flowing of Ujjayi breath, in through the nose, flowing out through the mouth as a constricted feeling, and then noticing the movement at the breath as you, at the belly rather, as you breathe in. So let's try that. I'm going to place my hands on my belly, again, staying symmetrical. So here we go. So that's how Ujjayi breath is done. It's breathing in through the nose, out through a constricted mouth, filling the belly on the inhalation, again, noticing the belly protrude. And as you exhale with that ocean breath, your belly will just naturally come back in. So let's try that again for 5 more times of ocean breath or Ujjayi breath. As you gently come back to your time and space, concluding our Ujjayi practice, begin to release the attention to your breath and just come back to its normal breathing rhythm. Gently opening your eyes if you haven't done so already, and just notice how you feel. Maybe even those few breaths have left you feeling a little bit more relaxed. Perhaps during these few minutes, maybe even some tension has left your body. Ujjayi, or ocean breath, sometimes again called victorious breath, is a pranayama, a breath practice that could be a part of a hatha yoga practice or just used as a technique to help you become mindful or aware of your breathing. This allows your chattering mind to take a little break, focusing on something else like the soothing sound of the ocean. I would encourage you to practice a few minutes of ocean breathing throughout your day and consider perhaps making it a part of your daily routine, even if it's just for a few breaths. It's a powerful practice that can have significant benefits to your life. Please note that this Ujjayi breath that I've shown you is the beginner form of Ujjayi breath. The more advanced practice of Ujjayi is actually to make the sound of the ocean coming in and the ocean coming out. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and if you have, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel where I have other videos on physiotherapy as well as some yoga and meditation as well. I hope you are well. I wish you well. Peacefully, Brett.